Oh my God.
to actually get something.
Leaked.
Yep. So the profession revamp, and we've certainly learned more from interviews, but it looks great. And we'll talk about it more in depth, I think, when we do the interview section of the video.
Yeah.
But just some nice look and feel things. There's a new UI, right? We have these nice little, new textures for your progress bars. That's pretty cool. Now, for the UI, this is where, you know what? Notion, you can be chaos sometimes with images. So a lot of this is very familiar, but what is new is the crafting details. So here we have the difficulty of the craft. We've got the crafting skill, but then we have your resourcefulness and your inspiration.
Stats. Let's go.
Just crafting stats.
Let's go.
You can have, in the same way that you have gear for your DPS, you actually have gear for your crafting. And the nice thing is you don't have to swap between those sets all the time. I think it just like happens automatically. So that's really good for a usability thing. But it just means that there's now a lot more progression in crafting. Yep. And I think that's really strong. And that's visual progression. That's great. You can be a blacksmith and have blacksmith gear. And then you've got your resourcefulness, your inspiration. So perhaps as the resourcefulness goes up, you can make the crafts more efficiently. Inspiration, I suppose that's going to be, can you get a higher, like a HQ item, maybe a higher item level,
it is almost like, basically this looks very ripped from FF14 in the difficulty versus quality, and then craftsmanship versus control, which is a hell of a good system.
Which is good. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, indeed. And hey, you even have this like satisfying bar to fill, which I think will feel, good for people. Here's what's interesting too. You got optional reagents and then you got finishing reagents.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
And a new layer of finishing. Nice.
Yeah, so more depth there. Mm-hmm. And I mean, okay, here's a spoiler for later. You can get nearly mythic quality gear from crafting,
which is certainly going to take a little bit of finessing to make work for everyone. But also, if anyone complains, that's probably a good thing. Probably.
Yeah. Now, Ian in that interview did say you won't be able to just spend a bunch of gold and get this gear. So I imagine it's maybe at a certain level, it's only wearable by the smith, and it'll take a bunch of time, meaning it's not really a competitive way of gearing unless you're just a crafter and crafting's your thing.
Yeah.
So I hope they're able to do it right. But the idea that you fully spec into being an armor smith and that's your thing. You put so much time and effort and even some gold into progressing it. And you can just walk around with a badass looking set of heroic raid-ish quality plate armor and be like, yeah, I'm a fucking blacksmith. That's cool. Yep. Strong fantasy to that.
That's right.
And there's times in the past in WoW with the crafting specializations where, the crafting specializations had a lot more utility.
It's been there. And also with the idea of it being more time investment than gold investment, this should hopefully shoot a load of bots in the head.
Yeah. Another thing then, Matt, could you run people through, I'm just going to pop off for a sec, but you can run them through the work order system.
Work order system.
Because it is...
Let me just scroll down.
It is really cool. It's really cool. Just the idea. You could say, hey, I'm a crafter. I'm just going to go craft for a day. You can go to the work order thing, just pick up work orders, do them, hand them in.
Yeah,
and it's just from other players and economy.
That's one of the fundamental...
with that bat on past.
Yeah, that's one of the fundamental things they've consistently kind of fucked up in a way, where there's so many things that you can only craft for yourself that you're like, I can't really do that. So, I have to just vendor it then, so it's a massive waste of materials. The other solution to that is to make everything BOE, but then that has obviously problems as well, where you have to do BOE stuff like that. So work orders being this idea of, hey, someone will give me the mats and I'll craft something that's bound to them, just means there's this whole it just completely unlocks the entire profession system in a way that's not been there before, especially when you get into the case of it removing the possibility of really simple stuff like being scammed. I think that's one of the important things for how people play games now. Obviously, it's very different to what it used to be back in the day, where you had someone you had someone in your friends list and you asked them for stuff. It's kind of trying to bring that back, but in the modern era, where you are actually just no one plays like that. No one plays like that anymore. Generally, people are very afraid of it. So it's just, it's also desync from time. So you just go, yeah, here you go. I would like to have this made. Here's all the mats. You do it on your own time. You can get especially with these stats as well. It's not just anyone does it. It's like, oh, I have this specific thing. And someone's like, I'll pick that up because I know I can actually do that. I can actually make that. And I think that's like really, really interesting. What does this mean for items that require the profession to use? I imagine that's just a case of you'll still have to make it for yourself. You'll be able to do, set a work order or something you like that. You'll need the stat. I imagine it's the same thing, but yeah, no, it's like, it's weird because I think this is, if anyone knows there's like another game that has a system like this feels like completely unique. Because I know I saw work orders and I immediately thought, oh, they've lifted buy and sell orders from New World. But then it turns out it's actually completely new, which is really, really fascinating to me. And I can't actually scroll down to go any further on Michael's screen. But yeah, could I see this leading to dedicated crafting trade guilds? I don't actually know if you'd have dedicated guilds, but you could have dedicated players. And that's the thing that's really fascinating. You can actually just have players that can, theoretically, we need to see how this works. But yeah, people can just complete it. Oh, EVE Online and PSO2 apparently have those. But yeah, that's the work order system. I see there's like a thing there where you can post to guild only. The quality stuff is actually interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure how that would work, but I guess that's the stuff they have to figure out. Because yeah, you could. That's a good point. Working that with quality, but then the UI doesn't seem to show anything about quality. Oh, it's minimum quality. Oh, interesting. I wonder. Yeah, that's because if you look at the image, well, you can't really see it too close, but there's a minimum quality thing on the war boots there. So, I wonder how that would work. Because quality then can't be random. Quality has to be guaranteed on the craft. So I guess that means you deal low battery, yeah. So I guess that means that the quality won't actually be random, but it'll be based on your stats and guaranteed. In that case, I guess you need to actually, if you set the minimum quality to be, maximum, then the crafter will actually literally need to do that. If the buyer isn't the crafter, how will they know what mats are needed? That's what it says. Like that, the whole thing is you supply the mats. The work order will go, here's the mats. Here's what I want. Make it for me. So that's very interesting. Quality will equal item level. I don't know about that. I think they kind of hinted at that. We'll go into the interviews a little bit later and try to figure that out. But yeah, no, this is completely a couple of things to iron out, but this is just a system that'll completely revamp professions and help them and completely change the social aspect dynamic of them as well.
I'm about to be a very, very naughty boy.
Oh dear. Oh no.
You know what? I saw this in the fridge and thought, holy fuck.
Nice.
This is a good day.
It's a good day for us. Pretty toasty. Well,
yeah,
it's getting a wee bit
this
close
is
to
in
nighttime.
fact the perfect day for a nice crisp Desperados. And right as I came back, I've just seen the low battery notification in this MacBook.
Yep.
Once again, I have to be AWOL.
Hang on, could you scroll us down to the item quality so I can something to talk about?
Maybe.
Yep. No, you're too far. Yeah.
Ha! My work here is done.
Yeah, because we were asking about this. We're like, what is this? What does crafter quality do? And it could be item level. It could be a more powerful effect. So I think that's the fun thing. Yeah, quality is like stars 1 to 5. Yeah. So I guess that's item level. Because I guess I'm trying to think. What if there's just one dude who becomes a god blacksmith and he just charges millions of gold for a helmet? Yeah, that's fucking sweet. That's really cool. I mean, obviously they're going to have a cap, so it's not like one person completely dominates the market. But that's the case where you completely could do that. You kind of could just become the best. I mean, that's one of the things they actually said on the... that's one of the things they said on the... It was at the stream or an interview where it was, if someone wants to be like, get a reputation for crafting specific stuff, then they can actually do that. And that's really sick. I think that's an absolutely fucking fantastic thing. No bear for Matt. Yeah. You fucking believe this guy? Fucking believe this guy. Unbelievable, I tell you. Unbelievable. Ian said there are talent trees for professions.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. That's hyper sick. What the fuck?
Fucking hell. I know you see enough
Yeah.
of me in real life, but you could have watched that video we published.
I did watch it.
I'm taking the piss.
I literally did watch it. I did QC it. I did put the timestamps in.
In that case, one of us has the dementia.
Must be me.
I don't know. I mean, I remember talking about it, but I say
Yeah.
so much shite on a daily basis that I do kind of forget most of the things I
Yeah,
say.
that's for sure. Oh yeah, of course, specializations. Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, man, the idea of like, well, it's just so cool.
It honestly it is. Yeah, yeah.
Like, I was always a wee bit. I know people like that. I was kind of critical in my head of the Legion system because it's like, okay, some of these quests are cool, but a lot of it's just like, a bunch of stuff before I get my crafts. But like from a systemic level, it seems like this is just so much more like deep.
Yeah. See,
I'm really down for this.
See, this is the problem, right? Where your experience was a bunch of shit before I get my crafts. My experience was, holy shit, my character's walking around with some fell slit or whatever it was embedded in their arm. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. I feel really cool being a blacksmith. I thought that was the stuff that really, like, actually kind of owned.
That's true. No, yeah, fair. I think at the time it's just when I was in that mood of just really wanting to be like a big profession goblin.
Yeah.
Like maybe late Wrath already cat and me was. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we got that. We got our profession stats. Yeah. The crafting tables. So they're trying to like make all of these crafts kind of like be in the hubs, which will just create that cool community feel. And then the gear.
The gear's very good as well. That's really... it's weird.
Neat backpacks. Really neat backpacks.
Yeah, that's the stuff where it's like... It's fucking insane that it took them 200 years to get to this point.
Yep.
But they got here and they're finally doing it, so it's... You can't really hate on them. It's like, yeah, look at that. Professions are now like a thing you can be and do. And physically represent. Which is...
Yeah.
You know, that's what other games with profession stuff make sure you can very much do.
Man, look at these wee jewel crafting things.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
Indeed.
Like, man, yeah, even that. Oh, it's just so nice.
It's like, well, I mean, I guess actually, technically speaking, they have had this since the dawn of time, but it was limited to engineering goggles. So I think it's actually really nice that you can actually do that as well for other things.
Yeah. And I think even just... I know in a way you could say, oh, really? We need gear? You just nerfed my experience to give me the power back later. I think from a design perspective, being able to have this gear, you know, you go up, you get more stats. I just think that is it's a better profession system. It's just, there's more, I guess, more progression, more of a curve in it. I just feel better.
That's like the thing that gets kind of weird here, because there's a load of people who are playing World of Warcraft to like accomplish goals and stuff like that. And every time there's a little bit of like, oh no, there's an extra step to that goal, people immediately go fuck yourself. You're just making this more difficult for no reason, or more complicated for no reason. And that's a thing where when is an obstacle just a hurdle, and when is it something you have fun jumping over? That's kind of the problem. It's like an obstacle course, it's either fun or a pain, a load of shit in your way. And I think there's a lot of the kind of the worst case is whenever it's a system. Because that's whenever the entire community is like, fuck systems. Fuck World of Warcraft and its systems. Too many systems. Lamau system lands. What a shit show. It's like, that's because none of it was really fun to engage with. But you can, like, if they can reframe all of that to be here, it's a couple extra steps, but you'll enjoy the steps and you're like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it.